provokes radical jihadism in the world. I think radical jihadism is a provocation all of its own, born of a portion of that religion that believes that their religion is not only right, but is superior to other religions in the world.
Welcome back to Morning Joe. That, of course, was Republican presidential candidate and New Jersey Governor Chris Christie lighting it up in New Hampshire as he has. Yesterday, that was one of his many town halls in New Hampshire. And he's with us now from Fort Smith, New Hampshire, where he's on a statewide bus tour. Mike Barnicle and Mark Halpin is there at the table with us as well. We do have to ask you at the very beginning, because, of course, Donald Trump frames the shape of this presidential debate. We have to start by asking you, given the opportunity, would you assassinate any journalists that cover you? Donald, it took Donald a couple of seconds to figure out, but would you consider assassinating journalists that you don't like?
Is Mika there?
Oh! Look at him.
I definitely wouldn't. No. Definitely wouldn't. Hi, Mika.
Hi. Hello.
That's awful.
Wow.
Merry Christmas. How are you?
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
You too. That is so nice.
Merry Christmas. That's like from Home Alone.
I'm just wondering, so the bus, right now you're in Portsmouth. If you look out the window, any sightings of Marco Rubio anywhere there?
No, we've been looking for Marco, but we can't find him. We've had the bus all over New Hampshire. We haven't been able to find him. We understand he did a very quick town hall here and then left to go back to Madison Avenue in New York.
Oh.
Oh my gosh, he sounds like an elitist. Well, you know, so you've been there 131 times, Kasich 107, Lindsay 176, Jeb 71, Marco 42, Jim Gilmore 42. You have, though, seemed to catch on. You look at the polls, the numbers are going higher. I guess the question to ask is, let's say you have a good showing in New Hampshire. Does that bleed over to South Carolina and other places in the South where right now you're still in low single digits?
Sure it does, Joe. We've seen that happen before in presidential races. Iowa and New Hampshire really do set the tone, and they set the tone for the rest of the country. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have to go down to those places in the South and in the industrial Midwest and out in the Rocky Mountains and work. We're going to have to go out there and work, too. But, you know, I've heard the conversation a lot this morning. I think it's absolutely true. You can't wait to do well. You have to do well as soon as you possibly can, and especially in a race of 13 people. You cannot wait to do well, because momentum will run over people who wait to do well. And so we're hoping to create momentum in Iowa and New Hampshire, and then be able to work that momentum and do what we do, which is to give 2-hour town hall meetings where people get to ask whatever questions they want, whenever they want, and to be stunned that a politician actually answers their question.
And you stay there.
Mike Barnicle.
And stay there for a half an hour afterwards and take pictures and talk to folks after the meeting's over. From beginning to end, our town halls are usually about 2.5 hours, because we usually stay about a half an hour after to talk to folks and take pictures and make sure that everybody's there who wants to shake a hand or ask a question gets the chance to do it.
Hey, Governor, I've seen you in those town halls, and clearly at the top of, right toward the top of people's agendas in terms of their concerns. One of them is the immigration crisis in Europe and immigration here in the United States. You indicated that you did not want the state of New Jersey to participate in taking any Syrian refugees in, and you indicated that you were going to issue a directive to the state of New Jersey to follow that policy. Have you issued that directive?
Yeah, Mike, listen, what we've discovered through us going through our lawyers is that I could issue the directive and it would have no effect, because in the end the federal government controls immigration policy and will override any directive that we put out. And so, you know, we're doing the very best we can to try to track the people who come into the state, but the federal government to this point still won't even directly talk to the state of New Jersey and let us know when they're bringing refugees into our state. They told us that we have to do with that and deal through the National Governors Association. It is the most ridiculous policy, but it's run by a guy who's a community organizer and who has never organized or done anything in terms of executive decisions in his life. So I can't be surprised that he's messing this up too.
What do you think of Vladimir Putin as a person and as a leader?
Oh, listen, I think that he doesn't seem to me to be the greatest guy in the world from everything that I've seen and read. And as a leader, listen, he's trying to assert himself in a very difficult time for his country. His economy's in the tank, oil prices are way down, and his military's in decline. And so he's doing what most dictators do, which is try to use foreign adventurism to keep his numbers up at home. So as a leader, he's certainly decisive. I don't think he's long-term going to be effective if we have a president of the United States who will push back on him. Obviously now we don't. We have Hillary Clinton running for president who hit the reset button with Russia and got us Crimea and Ukraine and Russian intervention in Syria. We need a president who will speak plainly to President Putin and let him know the limits of our patience. And that's exactly what I'll do when I'm elected.
You've highlighted differences between you and Marco Rubio in terms of leadership experience, and you've criticized him for some of the ways he's conducted himself as a senator. What are two issue differences between you and Marco Rubio that you would like voters to know about?
Oh, listen, the issue differences really all flow, Mark, from the way you actually get things done. Let's look at the spending bill that just got passed in the Congress. Senator Rubio said he was opposed to it, yet he did not show up to speak on the floor. He didn't show up to cast his vote. When you're governor of New Jersey, you don't like spending, you use the line item veto and you line item it out, and you make the argument to people. You show up and you get the job done.
Governor, I'm sorry, Governor, with all due respect, I understand there's a difference there in terms of your posture and your experience, but I'm asking about position differences that you think are significant between you rather than process things.
Yeah. Well, no, but Mark, this is an important position. It's about, you say you oppose spending, but you do nothing about it. That should tell people something about what kind of effective leader someone might be. You have to figure out ways to do it. He should have shown up on the floor and made his case to his colleagues against that bill if he was so opposed to it. He didn't. And that is a huge substantive difference between the two of us.
Hey, Governor, on your side of the aisle, the leader of the pack, Donald J. Trump, he's interesting. He's clearly captured part of the imagination of the American public, but he's never had his name on the ballot. And he said some very inflammatory things about people of the Muslim religion. You have had your name on the ballot. You have run for office a couple of times. You have had to make an appeal to the constituency of Muslims in New Jersey. So where are the differences between what you think about the Muslim religion and about Islam and what Donald J. Trump has said and apparently thinks?
Well, Mike, all I can tell you is what I believe. This is it. We have the second largest Muslim American population of any state in America. Only Michigan has more Muslim Americans than the state of New Jersey. I have a great relationship with the Muslim American community in my state. I've worked with them. I've hosted them at our governor's mansion. I've gone to events in mosques, both as United States Attorney and as governor. And the fact is that we can't be categorizing people just by their religion. There are wonderful, hardworking, peace-loving Muslim Americans. In fact, the overwhelming number of people who are Muslim American in New Jersey fit that category. And I've had a great relationship with them. I've appointed them to positions in my government and on the judiciary. And the fact is we need to discern, and this is where experience comes in. I know from 7 years as a federal prosecutor, there's a big difference between someone who's a peaceful, hardworking Muslim American and someone who's a radical Islamic jihadist. Let's focus on getting the intelligence and the information that we need to stop radical Islamic jihadists, and we don't need to interfere in the lives of peace-loving Muslim Americans to do it. In fact, if we work hard with peace-loving Muslim Americans, which we have many in New Jersey, they will help to give us intelligence and information on those who are being radicalized in mosques here in the United States. I've seen that happen in my office in New Jersey. When I was U.S. Attorney, helped us break one of the big cases that we broke on terrorism, and we need to make sure we continue to keep them as an asset both in our state in general and in the war against terror.
Are you driving that bus?
I thank God for the people of New Hampshire. I am not driving the bus.
That's pretty funny. All right, Governor Chris Christie, you're hilarious this morning.